910 Big 550 KTRS. You are in for a treat, and if you give us a couple of minutes, we will tell you a very interesting story that will touch on many of the things that are affecting and many of the things that are dealing with St. Louis in the last number of years. I'd like to welcome to the Big 550 KTRS, Avita Caldwell. Avita, welcome to Big 550 KTRS.
Thanks, McGraw.
You are a graduate of the St. Louis City Schools, correct?
Correct.
And you are a graduate of St. Louis University College, correct?
Yes.
Okay, university. Okay.
Yes.
How long ago did you graduate from the University of St. Louis University?
I graduated in 2011.
2011, okay. With you is Miss Mary Spencer, who is your fifth grade teacher?
Yes, my former fifth grade teacher from Jefferson Elementary.
Miss Mary Spencer, welcome to Big 550 KTRS. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
You got it. Also with us is Dick Weiss, who Dick Weiss has a long and illustrious career at the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. He was with us for a while, small-timed us, went to the Beacon, and now is a freelancer working for all sorts of things, including highly involved in the press club, correct?
Correct, yes.
Okay. Now, this story started when, Dick Weiss?
The year, actually 1999, when I started doing a series on a big civic effort to improve the outcomes for kids at Jefferson School, where Avita was a fifth grader, and I followed Mary Spencer and her class for the entire school year, and we published a four-part series in 2000.
So in 1999, Dick Weiss comes to you and says, I'd like to do a story on you and your class, right?
No.
No. Well, don't believe anything the media tells you.
The principal.
The principal says, okay, all right.
Not only my class, but others, the whole school.
The whole school.
Yes.
You were one of those fifth grade kids.
I was.
And you remember this.
I remember it vaguely, so this has been a learning experience for me as well.
Right. Okay, so the series comes out in 1999.
Yeah, and it's all about hope and promise and what making these brighter future for these kids. And at the time, it got a lot of attention in the community. But then, what happened to these kids?
Well, so
Did
hold
it
on.
work?
So fast forward now, all these many years later, you go on to Vashon High School.
Right.
You become valedictorian.
Salutatorian.
Second.
Yes.
Well, you should have gotten the first one. You then do all the right things, stay out of
Right.
trouble,
Yes.
and graduate from St. Louis University
Yes.
with a degree in what?
In communication.
Communications.
Uh-huh.
And you graduate in 2011.
Right.
And then you go and get a great job, and your life is perfect after that.
Not exactly.
What happens?
I actually, I would still have my job that I had in high school, which was a pharmacy technician
Okay.
at Walgreens, but I always knew I wanted to work in journalism, and I knew it was a very difficult field to get into. However, I didn't know how difficult it was
Right.
until I kind of got in the journey of trying to get into the field. So about 2 years passed.
Right.
And nothing was happening for me. I probably filled out about 50 applications, 50 plus applications, just trying to find somewhere to get into the field. So
Right.
after about 2 years, I reached out to Mr. Weiss. I had already done a freelance article for him for the Beacon my senior year at SLU. So he kind of knew a little bit about me already and knew that I had gotten back in contact with Miss Spencer. So we met, and this was in August 2013.
Right.
We met at a Starbucks. We kind of came up with this idea that we would take his project and make a sequel to it, and I would be the one to do the writing and all the interviews and things like that to kind of showcase my skills as a journalist.
So she calls you up and says, do you remember this article from 16, 17 years ago? And you said, I remember you very well.
Actually, I didn't focus on Avita in the story. There were some characters in that class.
Right.
And Avita was just a good student. And I'm like looking for these, characters. And so I didn't remember Avita in particular, but I was really intrigued as to what happened to all those kids. And so we got together, and I see that Avita has done everything right, and she can't find a job in the profession she wants to pursue. And I thought, this
Right.
is so wrong. How could I not help her out?
So what you guys did is you guys got together and researched and tried to find as many kids as possible from your fifth grade class.
Right, and I actually commend him because he really put the pressure on me to do most of it myself as far as researching, and he's like, okay, did you look here, did you look there? So he coached me really well.
Yeah. Mary Spencer, the fifth grade teacher, do you remember, how many kids do you stay in contact with throughout the years? And how many kids come back and knock on your door and say, do you remember me? And
That's a lot.
Yes. It's difficult to say. There are about 5. One I talk to every day, sometimes twice a day.
Right.
But supposedly the 13th of this month, that a group of former Jefferson students are getting together and giving me a picnic and honoring me
for all your years of service.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
one thing that Mary Spencer is really almost unique in St. Louis. She spent her entire career at the same grade school,
Right.
at Jefferson School. 40 years, was it?
41, not being technical.
Yeah, 41 years, and she's iconic.
So you've seen it all.
Yes.
Let me ask you this: as a retired now, right?
Yes.
Retired 5th grade teacher. What are your thoughts as you see and watch this public school debate go on in the city of St. Louis?
Horrible. Well, you have to look at society. And many of the things you can't teach your child until you get his attention.
Right.
And getting his attention is the problem. Parents uphold their children in the wrong, which comes back to weigh on them. But there are so many things that as parents we could do and as teachers we could do.
Lots of people blame the teachers and say the teachers are the problem for the schools.
Remember I said you can't teach a child until you get his attention. When a child tells you what he ain't gonna do and what you better not do,
Right.
you aren't getting his attention. And he disturbs the whole classroom. Part of the problem also is that by the time a child gets to 5th grade and he has not learned to read, then you have a problem. You send them to middle school where they may or may not be in a classroom with some of their peers. Therefore, when the teacher calls on John Jones to read, John Jones can't read, so he cuts up. And if he continues to cut up, what are they going to do? Put him out? Next thing, he's out of school.
Avita, do you when she came to you, did you remember her?
You know what? I've known her since I was in kindergarten.
Okay.
My sister's 5 years older than me, and she had her as a teacher.
Okay.
Then I had cousins that had her as a teacher, but I formally met her when I was in kindergarten.
Gotcha.
And it's so weird because I asked her, she said that she would retire and all of that, and I asked her if she would stay at the school until I graduated from 5th grade, and she said she would. So
And-
I
and
like
she
to think
did.
she
And I
stayed.
did.
And did you stay for her?
Yes, and a couple other causes.
All right, good for you. All right,
Thank you.
so we're going to get to this story. We want to find out what happened to these 5th graders all these years later. This story, Dick Weiss, is in conjunction with the St. Louis Post-Dispatch is running the follow-up, as well as the St. Louis American is running the follow-up.
Right. The Post-Dispatch will have a part of the story on Sunday, June 7th.
Okay.
And then the American has a special section June 11th coming out, kind of a tabloid size. So it'll have the whole thing, and it's also online right this minute at allgrownupjefferson.com.
But if you go to the website, you still have to make sure you get the hard copy. So
Yeah.
Yes, you still get the
I want
high
to sell those newspapers.
Right.
we should also say that the St. Louis Press Club is a part of this as well.
Yes.
And
Yes.
they helped fund this study originally.
They did, yeah. We did a kind of. This is a lot of work, a year
Right.
more than a year's worth of work, and so I didn't want Evita to do it for free. We paid her a living wage. It's $20 an hour, and we
Right.
raised money through the press club. They were the sponsor, and people donated $20, $100, and so on. And we financed this whole thing through.
And the interesting thing about that is, I remember I offered to do it for free,
Yeah.
and he's like, "No, you won't be doing this for free."
That's just not
And
the
about-
You learned some things in college. You didn't learn a lot of things
Right,
in college.
right. But by then I had done so much on my own
Right.
that I was doing through funding from the money that I made at Walgreens. So I was kind of used to doing things just for the experience
Right.
of it. So
All right, so hang tight. We're going to get to more of this story. Dick
Yes.
Weiss is with us. Evita Caldwell's with us. And Miss Mary Spencer, the fifth grade teacher. We'll do all of that here in a moment. Stick around. An incredible story of what happened to these fifth graders in 1999. They went back and researched them, and what are they doing now after so much of the community put forth an effort to sort of help these kids and get them going in the right direction. All of that coming up here in just